This is the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Let's go nuts! It's Jimmy Nuts! Drive out with a car!
With your hosts, Mark Martinez.
Remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things.
And the English Professor.
It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke, the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Mark Martinez. Sitting beside me in studio today is the guru, Chad Piranha. This is the third time we've done the entrance because I'm an idiot. And that's why I did it like this.
This isn't a we thing. This is because of him. First, I had a different last name, and second time, he couldn't remember what the hell his name was.
It's just, there needs to be something in this coffee. We had a late night, first of all.
Yes.
We went to a new federation for you, but I've been there a couple of times. And, guys, we got a lot going on today, so we're just going to jump right into it. Screw what we did during the week. Nothing.
Nothing, yeah. Usual.
Yeah. We went to Imagine Pro Wrestling Volume 9 last night in Altoona, Pennsylvania. And the selling point, I think, for you was who they brought in.
Yes.
The franchise Shane Douglas and
Dominic DeNucci, WWF Hall of Famer.
Yeah. So that was awesome.
Yeah, it was good. It was good to see. I'd seen Shane before, but many years ago when he was kind of sort of in his prime, maybe just outside of it, and it's always good to see the old timers that when I was introduced to wrestling that they were in the prime and they were big names. Yeah,
and we'll get to Dominic had a spot, or he gave himself a spot, more or less, in the show. All right, so we got there, and I've seen the venue before, and as soon as we got in, I'm like, what did you think?
You had mentioned, you might kind of look at the outside and think, what the hell? To me, it was, there was some changes, obviously, from what you had seen.
Yeah.
But it looked like, it reminded me of a roller rink from the outside, like the Joy Gardens roller rink for some reason. I don't know why.
Because people in California or Indiana or wherever are going to know what the hell the Joy Gardens roller rink is.
Oh,
15 miles up the road.
Roller skating rink.
Yeah, they understand that. So a lot of good matches. Guys, I don't know if we're going to give finishes like we did or anything. We'll just talk about some of the people that we really liked, because I've been to 4 of them. It's been, probably about 8 months since I've been to one. I'll just leave it at that. And there's some new faces in Imagine, and I have to start right off the top. The Neighborhood's my favorite. The Neighborhood is my favorite thing going there. I like some of the IWC carryovers as well, and we'll get to that. But the Neighborhood, they freaking come out to It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood with a rap version or something. And the characters in it are awesome.
At first I was like, what in the hell? And then you've seen a little bit more development in the characters, what their stick was. You had a guy that looked like Snoop Dogg there, and he had the Bill Alfonso whistle thing going.
Not as annoying, though.
Not as often.
Yeah, it wasn't a high-pitched whistle.
Then you had, a couple other guys. One guy was some retro Nintendo freak thing.
He used the Power Glove.
Yes, I was like, oh my God, I didn't even think those things were...
He had to have found this at a yard sale. It spruced it up.
Yeah, I would have figured maybe it degraded by now, biodegradable or something that's been so long. The guy that I had to laugh at the whole time, and I just couldn't put my finger on it, who or what he reminded me of, was the Sideshow Psycho. And I'm just looking at this guy, and it finally hit me in his match. He reminds me of a small version of like the Elephant Boy or whatever in his face and facial features.
Wow.
The way he goes. But it was funny. They had their thing going.
Yeah. I looked for him at halftime or whatever. I was going to hope to get a picture with all of them, but when I looked, they were all over there. Excuse me. But I was heading to talk to Dominic and Shane, and Dominic's a talker.
Yeah.
He will tell you everything, and he's a salesman, too. Holy moly.
One way or another, he's
a salesman. That's something that he sold to me, and I was getting it anyway, but he sold to me. He wasn't pushy. He didn't, there's some that you go up to, I'm not naming names, but there's some that you go up to, and they don't do this unless you do that, da-da-da-da-da. He just told me that is his best-looking picture right there. It might be a little bit more than this picture over here, but this is his best-looking. I'm like, oh, you're still a good-looking man. I like that picture.
Yeah, and he looked, for his age, he doesn't look bad, and he moves pretty well.
He does.
For his age and that, and after as many years as he spent in the ring.
Yeah. Then, of course, I got a new picture. I'm going to do, first of all, I have to go through what my mother would call my baby books. There's a picture of myself. I don't know how old I was. If I'm 10, that's pretty amazing. It would have been 87. Not sure. Roughly around there, of myself and Shane Douglas in a match in Indiana, Pennsylvania, which it was DiNucci's territory, because everybody knows Shane was trained by Dominic. I got a picture with Shane. So fast forward 30 years, bro, and here I am now taking another picture with Shane. So I hope to get that split level picture up on the social medias just to show how much Shane still looks great, and I look like an idiot both times.
Well, there's a given there.
If I find the kid picture, it's horrible. I have really Coke bottle glasses, a truck and tractor pull hat on with pins of the Rock and Roll Express, probably my Rock and Roll Express self-made sweatshirt.
You were a good
idiot.
mark.
Oh, I'm a bad mark. I really am.
Well, we're not talking about that on this podcast.
No. So, what was your favorite match? I'll put it that way.
It was a main event.
Spencer Slade?
Bill Collier and Slade.
No, it was Beastman and Slade.
Or Beastman and Slade, sorry. I thought, it told a good story because Beastman, dude's huge.
Yeah.
Ridiculously huge, and he doesn't move bad for...
He doesn't move as like Bam Bam, but he moves good.
And, it was the thing of Slade, who's not a small guy himself, but, having to get around the guy's size and everything like that. And I thought it was a pretty decent match. Impact-wise, that's the one that I liked the most. The one that a little bit more to the wrestling side was Bill Collier's.
Against Moriarty.
And this was the first time I've seen Collier. I'd seen him on IWC, but obviously not in person. And when they said it was him coming out, and I turned around, I was like, holy shit, this guy's freaking huge.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry for the S word, people. I know this is a family show.
Yeah.
Inside joke there.
Inside joke. Douglas did get in the ring. We'll touch on this real quick. Douglas did get in the ring, but after 2 cheap shots to the ding-dong, David Lawless picked up the win. This show was setting up a lot for their March 21st show, which is their anniversary show, 1 year in the biz. And we're thinking about it. We're really thinking about it. Ray Lynn returns. Douglas is going to be back in an Extreme Rules match. There's going to be a zero-gravity ladder match, which even the ring announcer said, I don't know what the hell that is. We'll have to watch it on social media.
I was wondering about that. I didn't know if that was another name for the reverse thing that you have to climb up and
put it
post the belt. I don't know.
No clue. So, Yeah, overall, quick recap of Imagine, because now they're doing a lot of videos now, and just like IWC, we'll touch on it, but we're not going to go in depth because, guys, support them.
Yeah.
Buying a video from Imagine Wrestling is putting money, throughout the whole way, and this is a great organization.
Yeah.
Your boy wants to go. Quick backstory about that. We brought your little guy and told him we were going to Surprise, and he was amazed that we took him to wrestling.
He slept on the way down, typical Piranha there, sleeping in the car. And he didn't want to eat when we stopped to eat, and which is unusual for him as a Piranha.
Right?
And he just didn't want to eat. He ate a couple of potato chips, a couple of hot cheese bites, and that was about it. He was like, I don't want this food. I want to get to the Surprise. And then he still didn't get it when we walked past the big wrestling sign.
Right.
He wasn't paying attention because he wanted to get inside and see what it was. And then when he seen that it was a ring, the eyes got big, the smile. He was
started
like
jucking and jiving a little bit.
It was funny. He was like, well, he is a little kid, but he was like a little kid. A little kid at little kid at going to wrestling, and he loved it. He was, all over the place, wanting to go and meet people, and he wanted to go get in the ring and everything like that. He loved it.
Good. So he had a good night. He passed right out when you guys got home?
Yeah. He got about 15 minutes of listening to Jim Cornette swear about stupid people, and he was out like a light.
Nice. Hey, all right, we have to move along because this is a part I'm really excited about. We have to dial up the English professor because you have your top 10
I have
from
my
last
top
week.
10. Yes, and I'm gonna go a little bit off of my homework. We got to, just for the hell of it, throw out some honorable mentions each, because this was not easy coming down. You could go for maybe about the top 5 or 6, but beyond that, it was hard choosing a couple of them.
All right,
between a couple of them.
Let's bring in the English professor. So the English professor is finally online with us, and guys, what we're doing right now is we had Thad send in an email about a week and a half ago. We touched on it last week. I took a different spin on it, and we're going to do our top 10 songs related to wrestling, entrance, whatever, somebody singing them, whatever. And by the way, English professor, welcome to the show. I'm an ass for not doing that early.
That's all right.
Hey,
Thank you.
You're lucky he remembered your name. At the show introduction, it took him 3 times to get everything right.
I imagine it did.
It's a rough
Not
morning.
surprised.
It's a rough morning.
Yeah.
All right. So being the host, I always go last. Either one of you two want to rock paper scissors to go see who goes first, or anybody want to concede?
Go ahead, John.
All right. So, music in professional wrestling. They've been intertwined for a long, long time. Going back to Sergeant Slaughter with the Marine hymn. Maybe even before that. I don't know. But what I did was I made a top 10 a la Tony Schiavone, and then I did a world champion of music. So, coming in at number 10, JYD, another one bites the dust. Not Grab Them Cakes, because I like when they use like actual songs that they didn't write. So, number 10, JYD, another one bites the dust. Number 9, Hulk Hogan, Eye of the Tiger. Number 8, Undertaker's original theme. Just the bell gonging and the music, not the thunder and lightning and everything else. In at number 7, Jimmy Hart with King Kong Bundy's Girls. I wish they all could be King Kong Bundy.
Nice!
Wow,
You went back for that one.
Yeah. In at number 6, you'll see a theme here. Jimmy Hart, We Hate School. I think it was like a 1985 video. That was a good song.
You have a lot of time. Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
You have a lot of time. You dug. You dug.
I did, yeah.
And these are I remember them, but holy shit. Go ahead.
Okay. In at number 5, the Gentrys featuring Jimmy Hart with Keep On Dancing. Jimmy Hart, you guys remember, was in a band in the 60s. It was a good band. It was He was a background singer, but if you go listen to the song "Keep on Dancing," you'll hear him in the background.
Okay.
Yeah. So in at number 5, Jimmy Hart with "Keep on Dancing." Well, the Gentrys featuring Jimmy Hart with "Keep on Dancing." In at number 4, Ric Flair, 2001 Space Odyssey. I didn't care for the refurbished version when he was in the WWF. Number 3, Razor Ramon's entrance. I did not know this. That was outright stolen from the Eagles, the song "Those Shoes."
Oh, wow.
I want everybody to go listen to Those Shoes by the Eagles. And it's got that same intro. The Eagles actually sued Vince McMahon and won. It was a blatant ripoff. Number 2, the Honky Tonk Man self-titled song. That was so much fun. Number 1, the number 1 contender for music and pro wrestling, Roddy Piper's Bagpipe Band. That just was so much fun to listen to when he was on his way to the ring. People either cheered or booed instantaneously as soon as you heard that, and then the drum, and so much fun. But the World Heavyweight Champion, does anybody want to take a guess? Think along the lines of who my favorite wrestler is.
It's Bret Hart, right?
It is Bret Hart, but there's never been a right time to say goodbye off that stupid-ass album that you had, Mark, and you called me over to your house to listen to this, and I couldn't believe it. I could never forgive Bret Hart for that. That was the dumbest thing ever. All the songs were dumb on that album. They were all terrible.
Wait a minute, but that's your favorite song then? So you're contradicting yourself, saying that you hated the album, but now it's your world freaking champion.
It is world champion because of how bad it is.
You're unbelievable.
It's so good for
Right?
being so bad.
So
Exactly.
We didn't do notes because prior to you coming on, Chad has honorable mentions and his top 10, and we've all taken this a different spin. I've taken the songs, and when I hear them, I'm ready to go. So it's wrestling that way. But we'll go to Chad, who will do his honorable mentions, his top 10. Then we'll go to mine, and then we'll discuss for a couple minutes. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay, just real quick, 2 honorable mentions. Everybody's gonna get these. The special op with the for the Shield. You just knew there was gonna be a fight when that hit, and usually they were coming down through the fans, so you got some interaction there. It was a cool way to start. This one was really hard for me to keep out of the top 10. Real American with Hulk Hogan. I don't think there's many more wrestlers that you can name that when their song hit, you got the pop that this song had.
I agree.
Yeah.
Number 10, I got to go with...
Wait, number 10. Oh, okay.
Number 10, Judas, Chris Jericho. That has caught on so well. You have people singing it. You have him trying to not smile and be like, hell yeah, people are into this and everything. And again, it just gets people involved. Number 9, everyone's got a price for the $1 Million Man for Ted DiBiase.
Nice.
You just loved it. He was such a prick, and this just matched his persona and his gig and everything like that. Number 8, the original game from Motorhead for Triple H.
It's time to play the game.
Yeah, the very, very original one. There was like 3 versions they did for him. And that was another one. It's like when that hit, people were on their feet. You knew that there was going to be a fight. Even when he was a rule breaker or a coward rule breaker and would come out to it, it was a good one.
Everybody tried to spit water like he did all the time. But there's one person in our realm that he cannot spit water. Again, go to Martinez wedding entrances on YouTube. You'll see us coming in during the wedding, and Pat Lupino chose to be Triple H. And I'm talking, and you could ask John real quick to interrupt yours. We tried to show Pat for 2 to 3 hours how to drink and spit. He just likes swallowing. And we let him swallow. And you see him do it, even on the wedding entrance. It's Pat's not a spitter. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, we all spit, but Pat swallows.
Okay. On from that. Guns N' Roses, Welcome to the Jungle for the Steiners.
You hate the Steiners.
I didn't, but then I didn't hate him because it wasn't Big Papa Pump, steroid free Big Booty Daddy or whatever the hell he is. This was when they were actually good and both of them, really wrestling. Probably at the time, the best tag team in wrestling when they were doing this. Again, Welcome to the Jungle, Guns N' Roses. Number 6, Tina Turner, the best, for Larry Zbyszko when he was the AWA World Champion. Because
holy cow,
he was such an arrogant snot, and this just absolutely fit him. Funny side note with that, there was no lawsuit or anything like that with that song being used from Tina Turner or the record company at the time. They gave them all, the AWA, the rights to use that song without any kind of squabble or anything like that. Number 5, I can't believe this is as low on the list as it is. Phenomenal for AJ Styles. Just great. Another thing that absolutely fits him, being a Southern boy and everything. Side note on that, this song was originally supposed to be for Robert Roode when he made his debut on the main roster, and he didn't like it.
How do you not like that song? That's a great song.
I didn't.
It works really well for him too. It's got a little bit of country, but a little bit of hip hop to it too. You're right. It fits him nicely.
Number 4, Sharp Dress Man, ZZ Top for Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. Come on, what song didn't get you, just whether you like Garvin or not? What song didn't get you going? And from one way or another, if you loved him, it was great. If you hated him, you just wanted to see him get pummeled when this song come on. Number 3, I could not find what this song was, but it was the initial Midnight Express theme. Just music, not the digitalized WCW version, but the actual NWA version. You knew that the boys were coming down. You knew that Cornette was going to be flapping his gums and waving his tennis racket, and you were hoping they got the hell beat out of him. Number 2, this was hard putting at number 2, real close with number 1. Iron Maiden's Iron Man for the Road Warriors. You knew when this hit, you were going to see a brawl. You were going to see somebody get their ass handed to them on a silver platter when this song hit. Number 1, probably no surprise to Mark especially, Electric Light Orchestra, Rock and Roll is King for the Rock and Roll Express. My favorite tag team of all time. The favorite song that they used, and they've used 3 or 4 different songs. This was the absolute best.
Good list.
Good stuff.
Good list. All right, so mine again is when I hear it, I mark out, okay? And some of them are going to piss both of you off right from the start. Number 10 will be the first one. Jive Soul Bro. When I hear Slick coming out with Jive Soul Bro, it was amazing. It's stupid. It's an 80s song, late 80s, early 90s. Just, guys, it pushes the buttons. If that's on now, shit's going to hit the fan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun song. Yeah.
Number 10, I went from, that was number 10. Number 9, I have a 4-way tie because just the first beat of their entrances, I get pretty pumped about. It's all the ladies. So we have Paige, we have Alexa Bliss, we have Sasha, and we have Nat. You know, that first note in all of them is pretty distinguished. If you hear their entrance song, you know who's coming out then. So that's that. Judas is number 8 for me because it's hot right now. Am I going to get sick of it? Probably, but it's fun. It's in there. I'm now starting to sing along with it with Jericho. Number 7, you can't go wrong with Land of a Thousand Dances. That was the first song on the original wrestling album. Every wrestler on there had a part. They tried to have some fights during the song. It's unbelievable.
So cringeworthy. I think that's what led to the 30-man battle royal, because they all fought during the video, so why not put them all in a battle royal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 6, when you hear, whoa, Becky Lynch's, the Celtic one, probably one of my favorite female ones. It's a soccer, another sport's getting involved in it. This is where I kind of start getting serious now. Number 5, it's called the Chase theme from the Midnight Express. That same one Chad was talking about. Number 4, I agree with you, Chad. I like the Rock and Roll Express one, but I like Boogie Woogie Dance Hall. Ricky Morton's original sing-song one, so much better. Number 3, just because he brought us to wrestling, I am a real American. But as a kid, we all got up. I don't care. John says he never liked Hogan. He was a bad guy, this, that, and the other thing. If you hear I am a real American, you're posing at least once at the age of 40s for all of us. We're doing something stupid when you hear that song. Correct?
Yeah. I'm kind of with John about, never really caring for Hogan. He was great, great entertainer and everything. The only match that I really remember rooting for him for, as an American, come on, this is an easy one, against Sergeant Slaughter, with the whole Iraqi crap going on with Slaughter and the Sheik and Akbar, Adnan Al-Kaisi. That was the match that I just wanted Hogan to destroy him.
That was such a bad match.
Yes.
That was such a bad match.
When that video debuted, it was brilliant, though, Mark. You're absolutely right. It does get you pumped because they put footage to the words that made perfect sense. Like the part that says, if you hurt my friends and you hurt my pride, I got to be a man. I can't let it slide. They're showing Stud and Bundy dropping hammers on Andre the Giant, and who comes running in but Hulk Hogan? Because if you hurt his friends, he's not going to let it slide.
I just thought the best part of that video was when Hogan was kind of like standing on the Statue of Liberty torch playing the guitar. How he got up there to play that was unbelievable. So that's
a lot of steps.
Yeah, it's a lot of steps. Number 2 and number 1 are real close. Number 2 is kind of the original to me. These guys brought music, singing music to wrestling that I grabbed onto first, and it's the Freebirds with Bad Street.
Oh.
So, they brought that song in, and I'm like, wow, man, these guys can actually sing too, and I was pretty pumped about it. So that was there. And number 1, from the Pile Driver album, is Girls in Cars for Strike Force. With
I was gonna say Coco Beware.
No.
Okay, Girls in Cars.
Girls in Cars. Come on, guys. Everybody drives by, and you peek over, and if that girl is in that car and she gives you that subtle look, you just think, oh man, I could have been part of Strike Force.
Yep.
Is that before?
Was that Jimmy Hart too? And then
no, Robbie Dupree.
Okay.
I was going to say the looking over there and thinking Girls in Cars, was that before or after your wife slaps you and you...
It's during. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Yeah, it's during. So, all right. Any that we kind of forgot that's on anybody's mind, we'll stay with this for like another minute or two. Anything that, Chad had some honorable mentions. Roddy Piper was actually one that I was going to put on my list, but I knew one of you guys were going to get it, so I kind of stepped back from it. John, did we miss any on your thoughts?
No, you guys had some really good lists. Just what comes to mind now that you mentioned, like, I'm a Real American and the whole music wrestling connection, you got to give a shout out to Cyndi Lauper with Goonies.
Oh,
that
wow,
video,
yeah.
I mean, when you were a little kid, how corny is it now? But you're seeing, like, you know, Iron Sheik and Roddy Piper.
Not Goonies. Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Well, no, Girls Just Want to Have Fun was a video
Wendy
with Blue
Richter.
Albano.
Oh, yeah.
Wendy Richter, and so that's the one that Wendy Richter used when Lauper managed her against Lou Albano and Fabulous Moolah when Richter won the title.
They came out to that, yeah. But Cyndi Lauper had a video for, I don't know, it was, you know, I'm not even going to try to sing it, but it goes, for you, for me, it's good enough. It's good enough for me.
He said he wasn't going to try singing.
Well, he's not singing.
But that had all the wrestlers in it. Andre the Giant, Big John Studd, I think JYD, Iron Sheik. Think of the first LJN line. They were in that video. It was such a hoot.
Nice.
Watch it.
All right, watch it. All right, that's going to wrap up that segment. That was fun, guys. We need to do this again in another form of maybe favorite something or other. This was great.
I want to throw out there, and I talked to you about it yesterday in our trip. I thought a good one to do would be top 5, top 10, whatever, events, good or bad, real life or not, that shaped professional wrestling, whether it hurt it or helped it.
That's a great one. Let's. Yeah, why don't we do that one for 2 weeks? This way we're not doing these every week.
Right.
God, we don't need, the English professor doesn't need this much time.
Yeah, you guys don't want me on too much. People are going to get sick of me.
No.
I'm like Andre the Giant in the WWF. You just feature me once in a while. Like, Fritz would have had me in a match and then in a battle royal and in somebody's corner. And people get sick of me. You want to sprinkle me a little bit.
Yeah, sprinkle.
Well, I think if you improved on your singing, we might be able to have you on more with better reception.
I'll work on that.
All right, English professor. We'll check back with you in a few segments. I'm sure you have more to say, right?
I absolutely do, yes.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Hey everybody, this is Gilbert, WWF's longest reigning light heavyweight champion. And you're listening to Can Crushers Podcast, the best guys there are out there.
And welcome back to the show. Forgot to talk about Collar and Elbow like we normally do before we play the commercial, Chad, because the English professor.
Yeah, he was, I don't know what was up with him today. He just wanted all the attention.
Singing and
all
on the video
about me.
dancing.
Yeah, he had his Charlotte Flair robe on, everything. It was weird.
Guys, you know how we love Collar and Elbow on this show. One of our great sponsors. Hats, hoodies, tees, you know, the shirts are awesome. Chad talks about how comfortable they are. They are just well quality made products.
Yeah, very, like, you know, the biggest thing for me with any kind of clothing, design can be spot on, everything like that, but if it's not comfortable, you're not going to want to wear it. These shirts are comfortable.
Yeah, look, nope. I switched hoodies. I was going to say, I'm in my Collar and Elbow hoodie. I wore it last night to Imagine, and I got some, they're like, oh, Collar and Elbow. I'm like, yeah, it's great company. You know, you should listen to Can Crushers. We talk about it all the time. And they're like, all right, I will. And we have a promo code, Chad. Do you know what it is? Once you check out, you get 10% off?
Oh, it's something. It's Can Crushers. Capital C's.
In Can, capital C, and Crusher. Guys, you'll get 10% off the entire order. And we'll let you know when you buy something and use that promo code, you kick back some money to us to help improve podcasting stuff, because during the little bit of a break I had a meltdown. I didn't know what was going on.
You didn't have a meltdown. Some program had a meltdown.
So, all right, let's dabble on some wrestling that happened over the week. And I know you have some stuff that you want to bring to the table about news and stuff. So we want to talk about the news before we get into some actual wrestling.
Yeah, just odd things and stuff that I catch about wrestling. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, his daughter is at the Performance Center training.
Yep,
I started this week.
Posted a story on Facebook about it, and I actually titled it "The Future Women's Champion." Yeah, it's going to happen.
Let's see, because a lot of times you get these wrestlers that have the it factor,
right?
And then their kids come up and they just don't have that type of factor. I don't know that would be as big as The Rock and have that, but who knows?
Yeah,
who knows what she's gonna bring to the table? She's obviously got time, but she's gonna be compared to him in everything
from now
that
on.
She does.
Done. No matter what she does. So it's good to see. The heritage continues, as we say.
Yep.
All right.
Just odd things here. Hold on. The XFL, Vince McMahon, shows how out of touch he is. Projected to lose over $300 million. $375 its first year. Just a lot of money that you could be, feeding to your talents, taking care of them, a little bit more stuff like that.
Health insurance?
Health insurance. That's kind of where I was going with it. Help him out a little bit more. Does he take care of them, with certain things and that? Yeah, but give him a little something to be used outside of the wrestling angle, so to speak.
On the side note of the XFL, we touched on it briefly last week. I'm going to spend some time again after putting the show together, watching it. It's some pretty good football.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it this morning on Sports Center. It was showing some stuff and talking about it, and it doesn't look too bad. Yeah. Honestly, it doesn't look too bad.
I said it's that filler from now until baseball season for me, and then I'll forget about the XFL come the middle of March when spring training games start.
And that's, I think, pretty much the intent, because there's nothing. Don't anybody shoot me. I don't follow soccer at all or anything like that. So there's nothing pressing. American sport wise.
NBA, but I'm not an NBA fan.
Yeah. Just a little bit of something for the football guys, for the ones that won Hennigan and stuff like that.
Yeah.
On WWE again, we talked about this on our trip to the wrestling last night. The centers where wrestling is being held at totally blowing pay-per-view results by advertising, hey, WWE is going to be here in 3 weeks and the champion, Bray Wyatt's supposed to defend against XXX person. I would think with such a tight ship that Vince runs, that he'd be cutting some people's genitalia off for letting this out.
Yes, I'm agreeing with you. I'm going to stir the pot, though, and I wasn't stirring the pot yesterday on the ride. You're talking about the Elimination Chamber that's going to happen in Philadelphia. Yeah. They've announced all 6 members of the Elimination Chamber. They said Bray Wyatt will be defending the title, so they're throwing the whole Saudi card out the window, Philly is. But they always put, because somebody is going to write to us, I'm telling you this for a fact, somebody's going to write to us and say, don't forget about the little parentheses down at the bottom of the thing that says card subject to change.
But this
it doesn't change in the WWE.
Not something like that unless it's really open. This is like the years ago Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Nobody wanted either one of them to win.
Could that happen again?
Roman Reigns, we were about to throw up from. Brock, we didn't want him to win because we were throwing up from him. So they bring Seth Rollins down. This is just, and I don't really care about the Saudi card because I think it's just a throwaway. It's a glorified Raw house show to me. But this is not the first time this has happened. It's kind of put the screws to all the WWE cards at one time or another. WrestleMania, Survivor Series, everything like that. And it's just funny. Oh, Vince fires people that, have a different opinion than him, but he keeps going to these people and events centers and places and that leak out and blow, what's going to happen to his, next pay-per-view and stuff like that. Just a weird, funny thing to me. This is something I don't know if you caught. Ted DiBiase's son, Brett, is under federal investigation for...
I did see this. Embezzling.
And I found out what it is Ted DiBiase has, based with his religion, a organization that does a lot of good stuff for the people of the towns and things like that. But what his son's under investigation for, and now Ted is under investigation, found that out yesterday, is embezzling over $2 million of welfare funding.
Oh,
so
damn.
They were approved from the state to receive these, and it's separate pot, these welfare funds. And you're talking over $2 million when this state refuses 98% of the applicants for welfare.
Holy hell.
So this is bad.
Oh, this is
bad.
This is federal. This is going right down the line.
And he's, stuff was used for, operation of the business and everything like that. And what fell under it? Hotel rooms, cars, traveling for the people involved in the investigation. That's where they're gonna get
bit
hurt.
in the ass.
Yeah, that's where they're gonna get hurt. Just one last really news item, so to speak. My God, thank you, NWA. You finally released when you're given the Crockett Cup information.
This Tuesday.
Two
days from today.
Ticket information, venue information, everything finally on Tuesday. Thank you.
So
now I am able to sleep. Now I'm able to
sleep
eat
one
and
day,
everything.
though. You're going to sleep one day. You have slept prior to announcing this, but now you really only have one day of sleep left because you're going to sleep during Raw, wake up after Raw Monday night, and just wait and see when Tuesday they're going to announce it.
Yeah.
Are you going to be up? You're going to be up from 12:01 until the announcement comes down.
Are they going to drop it when it hits Tuesday hours, or is it going to be a 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock? Don't have to wait to the show Tuesday night because
it's not a show. First of all,
well, Power.
No, it's not Power. It's Squared Circle.
Squared Circle, their new show.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, we don't have to wait till then because I signed up for the NWA newsletter, and that is the first place that it's going to be announced.
So we're excited for that.
Very much so.
All right, so let's dabble on some wrestling. Not really a lot because a lot really didn't happen. Since we brought up NWA, let's start there. All right, let's start with the NWA. And matches of bigness, I guess. I know bigness isn't probably the right word. I like seeing the Dawsons with the Pope. We knew the Pope was going to be bad at some point. The Dawsons are devilish. This was
a good tag team match.
This was a great tag team match. The Dawsons against the Bouncers, 4 big mammoth human beings in there. I hope both of them are in the tournament, and I hope they go a long way. I'm a true fan of the Dawsons.
Yeah, I'm loving the fact that you're seeing more teams come out, and it's funny and it's timing. I think it's really intentional with the Crockett Cup coming up.
Looming, yeah.
That they're going to have. I mean, last year you didn't know who the hell was going to be in the Crockett Cup outside of the Briscoes and the Rock and Roll Express. You had no idea.
No.
Who the hell was going to be in it. Now you're at least, okay, you got Storm and Eli. They're going to be in it.
You would think.
Are they going to be the first team to win the Crockett Cup as the NWA champions?
That's a strong possibility.
That's my pick. for it to win it. But it's just bringing the NWA having the tag teams, having formed tag teams, not just people thrown together. I think this is being done intentionally to put interest on the Crockett Cup.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Camille, she always looks great, but my God, did she look amazing this week as I step back and critique her. She absolutely beautiful.
And I know it's part of her character, but when she takes off her resting bitch face look and, she actually cracks a smile and stuff like that, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
The Latimer-Tim Storm match, good. I liked it.
Passable.
The Mama Storm thing should have been a one-off. To have this Mama Storm coming out now 2 weeks in a row, I don't know. Now,
yeah, it's just kind of like, okay, once, twice. Okay, Storm just needs to level the guy on the third time. But
he doesn't want to hit a lady.
He doesn't want to hit a lady, and I think, obviously,
it's going to happen.
That's not the angle that they're going. He doesn't want to attack somebody, but I think they need him to snap.
I agree.
They need him to snap. He's past the thing of fighting for the title with Aldis.
Right.
They need him to just snap on somebody.
Let's talk about, we talked about this on the trip as well. A lot of references to the trip, but we talk a lot about wrestling. Even when we're not on the podcast, we talk a lot about wrestling. Our boy comes out, the question mark, because Trevor wants a national title shot, and question mark comes out and, says karate. But he also, once again, thank you, sings the Mongrovian national anthem.
Yes, absolute. His voice, so, the melody in his voice and the pitch, it's so perfect. He should be singing our national anthem at the Super Bowl.
His voice is like Fergie and Jesus.
Yeah, it's just, wow. I mean, dude, somebody sign him up. RCA or somebody needs to sign him up to a contract.
I like the little shtick that Sean Mooney has now in the middle. They break away for like 2 to 3 minutes, and he does kind of like an update. You know that it's edited in because it is about what's happening now. He just talked about the ROH thing that we talked about last week, Aldis coming in, and him and Skrull. So that has been edited in. So they are doing weekly editing now.
And what I love about him doing it that way versus others, which we'll go into what we're going to do this week with wrestling, is it's just little clip.
Yeah.
In him talking. It's not, let's just punch in from last week, the 15-minute thing or whatever. I don't need to see everything that happened last week, but a little clip.
A teaser.
Yeah.
Teasers here and there. 15-second, 20-second teasers about everything and anything.
I mean,
and it wraps up to be 2 minutes.
Their biggest angle that they have right now, the Aldis Skrull stipulation at the Crockett Cup, was reviewed, updated within 20 seconds. It was a 20-second clip of, hey, this is what happened, the initial, this is his acceptance, this is what it's gonna be. Done. Great. Got my review. Don't have to sit there and, the grass is growing quicker than I'm getting my review type deal.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect.
And with Aldis Skrull stipulation, obviously, Nick Aldis, how much is it worth to you? How much is your greed worth to you? Evidently, our friendship doesn't mean anything. This belt's worth $500,000 to me. The initial thing was, you have to refund the attendance. Now, Skrull has said, I will write you out
my ROH check.
A $500,000 check if I lose this match. It's backing off, I think, in my opinion, they're backing off of the attendance.
Which is a smart thing, because
my first thought was when they said that, if he accepts that, damn well who's winning.
Right.
Absolutely who's winning. Because they're not.
So you think if Marty loses, he's really not going to give him a $500,000 check?
I mean, he may give him a $500,000 check, but
he's going to cancel it the next day.
I don't think he's going to be able to go to the bank with that and cash that. But Marty's not losing, so it doesn't matter.
I don't think so either. Tasha Steele looks great again. Her and Melena's match, it was all about respect. I liked how Tasha was keeping it clean, and then Melina out of nowhere just, I love this women's division. They have, what, 5?
Yeah,
5 every day, and they're killing the women's division.
Their storylines are, put together, kind of make sense and stuff like that. They're not doing anything outlandish right now.
And she challenged Thunder Rosa for not this week because there's no power, but the following week. And we don't know if Thunder answered, but we'll have to find out in a week or two.
Yeah. And shout out to Thunder Rosa. Glad to see that she was in a car accident earlier this week.
You're glad to see she was in a car accident?
I'm glad to see that she's... No, shut up! I'm glad to see that she was not injured in a car accident.
Use your words,
you cut me off early. Glad to see that she was not injured in her car accident earlier this week. It was pretty serious. She, the car was totaled and everything like that, but she's doing good. Good to see that. Don't want to... I hate to jump back to it, but we don't want to have anybody be in an accident like that. But a situation where a rising star, for the business to come in years like what happened with Magnum TA, we don't want a situation like that again.
I agree. Guys, I posted earlier today, Thunder Rosa has a YouTube page. It's up on our Facebook page, or you can go to YouTube and look up Thunder Rosa. A lot of behind-the-scenes stuff from NWA, some of her matches, some of her training for her MMA fight that she had. It is a fun, full of content page. Make sure you give Thunder Rosa a like, subscribe, or whatever the hell you do on YouTube. But all right, let's switch over to AEW. SCU against Paige and Omega, and we're 30 seconds in, and I'm dying already. I am dying already because it says in the thing,
the graphics at the bottom with stats. It says. Number of days sober.
Omega over 13,000.
Paige,
0.
negative.
Yeah. Whoever's doing Paige's stuff, and I don't watch anybody else's. I don't know because they've just brought us to watch Paige's all the time because he's drunk all the time. It's fun. It's just one thing.
It's just something that, you don't even notice till somebody points it out, and then you got to go back and be like, oh my God, it really was there.
The match itself was good. The ending setting up for next week's Battle Royal to find out who the number 1 contender is to have a match at Revolution here in a couple weeks, whatever. But what I got out of this match is we had, I don't remember the name, so I'm sorry, somebody on our Facebook saying, hey, it's Christopher Daniels running, or part of running the Dark Order. With him pulling himself out of the match as soon as the Dark Order popped up on the screen to go find out what's going on, Christopher Daniels is in the Dark Order. I don't think he's running it. He might be a muscle or something.
I'm seeing it a different way. I'm seeing that this is going to be a total swerve on it. It's just they're making it too obvious, too easy, and I just think there's going to be a total swerve.
Dustin against Sammy Guevara. What a promo by Darby. Let the match itself, whatever. But we're getting set up for Sammy Guevara against Darby Allin. And
as much as I hate Sammy Guevara, I think this match is going to steal the card that it's on if they do it right. Because they both can perform. They're, relatively the same weight, so you don't have a mismatch of weight and
both
everything
flying,
like that.
Both throwing bodies all over the place.
Yeah.
This is going to be great. I hope they don't have... It either needs to be number 1, but if it's number 1 in the match lineup, it could steal the show.
Yeah.
But it's got to not be following something garbage. I don't know. It's got to, because I don't want it lost in the shuffle.
I think that number 1, I'm kind of putting it, I think it deserves a bit higher on the card. But at
number
the same
1
token,
isn't bad on the card, though. You ask wrestlers that number 1, you're bringing the house to what it needs to be at. You're
yeah,
getting
but then it's the same thing. When you start that good, then your main event guys or your next to last match guys, they're gonna really have to step up their game.
But there's always a downfall in any card.
Yeah,
I'm going to stir the pot. I agree with you.
I think having it, if they have 7 matches, I think having it
4.
match number 3 with a stupid segment afterwards to kind of come down from it before they go into the final matches. That if I was booking, that's the way I would book it to go. Let them do whatever they want within reason without taking stuff from the main event guys, but let them have their due. Just don't bury them. And I think maybe nothing wrong with being the first match on the card, but then everything else, the rest of the card, is gonna be measured with that. Everything.
Have you ever had a Whataburger?
Yes.
You have?
Often. I was stationed in Texas.
Are they good?
Abilene. Excellent burgers. They're about
like Five Guys. I know Five Guys up here.
I've not had Five Guys. Whataburger is actually my favorite hamburger of any of the fast foods.
Have you had In-N-Out?
Not had In-N-Out.
The White Castle little mini things?
Oh, the White Castle mini things. Yes, those are horrible. My experience with those is not good.
We'll get that.
I lost weight after eating them, so
they're too small to get anything out of. But
yes, Whataburger, saucer-sized burgers, not greasy, got good flavor to them. I liked it. It was one of my favorite places to eat when I was in Texas.
Britt Baker's going to be a spokesmodel for them or something. This Britt is a heel. She's a bitch.
Yeah, she's a heel though. It fits her. When she come out this week, dressed the way she was and with the heel, and I'm usually not. I don't want to say not attracted to the heels like that, but she's just it does. She's hot as it is, but this just ranks, bumps her up. Great storyline, great way to use her.
I'll agree with, and Britt could give me some slack on this. I'll agree with what's being tossed around on social media. She's got to stop using role model, because Bayley has used that. It's prominent right now. I don't want to have Britt being a copycat.
Yeah.
She says role model a couple times, and I know it's a generic phrase, but it's associated with Bayley right now. I mean, WWE got to it first. They're using it on Bayley. Whatever. Maybe we're setting up for a Britt Bayley match in a couple years. That
would be interesting. That would be interesting.
We have a new women's champion, Nyla Rose. We talked about this on the ride down, Imagine, as well. I think it does something for the women's division now. However you like Nyla or you don't like Nyla, whatever, she's a beast, and now that I think you can have more realistic competitive matches, and Chad's going to go off. I'll give you 30 seconds to go off so we can continue moving on.
No,
because I'm going to bitch with you.
Regardless of what you think about Nyla, throw that stuff out the window. The Riho thing, Riho was not a champion. It just wasn't believable. And you could see this from the title match. Riho couldn't, like you said, couldn't lift her arm because she was so big. And
that's in the beginning of the match.
In the beginning of the match. But at the end of the match, she's able to snap suplex.
After she's been beaten for 15 minutes.
It was just bad. And it's nothing against small people. And please, don't anybody come up with, well, Rey Mysterio's small and look what he did and everything like that. Rey Mysterio wasn't 98 pounds. Rey Mysterio has a butt-ass load of talent.
Butt-ass load.
Like wide load of talent. It's just no comparison. And I'll go back to this time and time again. If Kenny Olivier was not booking this division, Riho would not have had what she did. She might be in matches, she might be competitive, but it just wasn't realistic. With Nyla being on there, now she can have, Statlander. They can have a match.
That Mel.
She can absorb the brutality that I think they're they were really missing with Riho as a champion. But this is a very slippery slope for them. This is no different than what TNA is doing with Tessa Blanchard as champion. They've already screwed the pooch with Tessa before she even has her first title defense. Because who do they have her going against in a triple threat? Michael Elgin, and who is it? I forgot the other guy.
Was it?
Richards.
Yeah.
Eddie Edwards. Sorry, not Davey Richards. Davey Richards, hope you're feeling good, getting better. Hope you can come back to wrestling if you choose to from your injuries and health issues. But back to the match. It's not realistic. This is where I said I was afraid they're going to go. They can't have her just Tessa kicking the hell out of the male division because you basically already said the female division shit.
Yeah.
By making her the champion, that she is way better than what female division deserves. But now you're going to, she's going to start stomping the male division.
And what's that do?
And if she doesn't, what does it do to her? It totally, you might as well never have had her win the title. You backed yourself into a bad corner. With Nyla, now they have a chance to grow with this a little bit.
My beef about AEW this week is you had Nyla walk off stage, head to the back, and Omega and the rest of the women's divisions back there, but they're at a freaking commercial, and they're all talking and doing stuff, and that's part of the story. I'm more excited to see who's challenging her back there, and we're listening to Mutual Liberty or whatever damn commercial. They're not putting anything in the don't put anything in the split screen, I'll put it this way, that's going to advance your show.
Yeah.
That's advancing your show, and we couldn't hear it.
I have a bad feeling when they were showing that, and this will be the first time I've said this, I've got a really bad feeling that Kenny Omega is going to be in a match with her. I just have, obviously it won't be for the title, although it could with the way he wrestles and prances around the ring and, spirit fingers and everything like that. But I got a really bad feeling they're going to have Kenny Omega and Nyla Rose in a match.
Next up, we have MJF against Jungle Boy. Yeah, I know Jericho made an announcement. We'll just talk about that all in the end. Brandy comes out on commentary. God, I love Brandy. She's a beautiful woman, but she's bad on commentary. She acknowledges that the Nightmare Collection is gone. She had an interview earlier on another social media outlet, and she says it's gone. It just wasn't working.
Which begs to differ. Throw this question out there, and we talked about this yesterday. If she's saying she wasn't comfortable with it, she didn't get it, and it wasn't connecting, who is really doing the booking?
Right.
Because if it was Cody, you know damn well, happy wife, happy life. If you're making her do something that she doesn't want to do, you're not going to have a happy life.
Yeah.
Who's doing the booking?
Speaking of happy wife, happy life, she got called into work today, and I didn't even get a goodbye.
Yeah,
you did?
Oh, no, I did not. I got a glare.
Yeah.
But anyway, who's booking this with that? I think there's something funny going on there, too, but...
MJF, gets the win, and... it's just that Wardlow gets involved a little bit too. All right, moving along.
Yeah, I just thought MJF needing Wardlow to interfere hurt him.
Yeah. Main event: Moxley against Santana. The eye for an eye. Guys, first thing is Moxley's had this eye patch on for a month now. Santana just had it on for a week. Moxley couldn't keep the freaking eye patch on. It looks like it was the first time he's actually worn it. It falls off. And this was before Santana's even touched it. Like, he's just struggling with this eye patch. And whatever, I'm looking at stupid little things like that. Tape it on better. You've had it on for air quotes, month.
Yeah, I don't understand it, because if you watched his matches in New Japan while this was on, the eye patch stayed on.
Yeah.
Except for when Suzuki just bitch slapped him in the side of the face in the one match and knocked it crooked. But yeah, you gotta do a little bit more thought into keeping it on and everything like that.
All in all, There's a new assassin coming after Moxley before he gets the heavyweight championship match, and I'm pumped.
Yeah, Jeff Cobb. Wow.
We've seen him in IWC. He's a beast. He is now in the Retromania wrestling game as well, so I'm pumped about that.
God. The people they're getting in that game. But with Cobb coming in, you know, ROH fame as of late, New Japan, definitely a great addition to the roster. And again, one of our trip talks, getting some more big guys in AEW. Hager's going to finally wrestle with something we missed out of Guevara's match. Dustin Rhodes making the challenge to Hager, are you going to wrestle or are you just going to be Jericho's bitch?
Yep.
So Hager's going to get in the ring. Wardlow's going to start getting in the ring and act.
That's a cage match next week.
Yeah.
This AEW is going to probably, I think, throttle NXT next week.
Yeah.
I really
very, very much so. I would not be surprised if AEW goes over the 1 million mark
next week
for the first time next week.
We'll touch on, in the third segment, NXT's tonight is Takeover Portland. We'll brief that as we're looking at time, but let's move on to WWE, okay? I had a snafu. Electronics have just not been my way this week. I don't know. Something happened with the DVR. We didn't record the Kids Cooking Championship or the Girl Scouts Baking Championship or Raw on Monday night. I don't know what the hell.
I would be more disappointed in the Cooking Championships than Raw, I'll tell you that much.
Because I did see that Shayna Baszler's, what the hell. I was doing a basketball game anyway. That's why I wasn't home. And I get a text from the English professor and saying, what is this effing shit? And I'm like, John, I'm a basketball game. He's like, I know, I just want to precursor that this is a bunch of horse shit coming around. So I get on social media the following day, wait till everything's happened, and Shayna Baszler looks like, I don't know, she's a zombie eating faces now. And they did.
Well,
why
she didn't eat her face.
The neck.
She bit Becky Lynch on the neck, and
that blood capsule blew. It covered her face. She looked like the new missing link, just in red.
Yeah, just reminded me of a wolf eating a carcass that goes and then lifts up and its whole face is red.
He did the facial features on that too, by the way.
It was bad. And
what else? I know the main event was, 28-man tag, whatever. You lost me on when you're just putting people in the main event to have them get on show so they get some money, I'm out.
Honestly,
there wasn't much on Raw, was there?
There wasn't much on Raw, which brings me to our point that we talked about doing this week. I am going to,
Don't say it, we got to do it Smackdown first. Let's do Smackdown first, then you'll do it. Then you'll do our project. Moment of Bliss starts, and the Moment of Bliss was a little long for me, setting up Carmella and Bayley's match now. It was supposed to be the main event.
Right.
But they set it up that it's now the first match of the card. Let me tell you, this was the best thing on SmackDown.
Yes, absolutely. There's parts that I haven't seen that we've
Then you're going to hear about, though. You're going to hear about
and
the one
I'm going to hear about them. But, nothing could top this. And, I disagree with you. The Moment of Bliss, I thought lengthwise was great just because Alexa Bliss was on it.
Of course. I'll give you that. But I just meant this is the opening up of getting the match going. Bayley and Mello work well together. Bayley, after match, getting the win, using the ropes, is now going to defend the title at Saudi. Is it going to against Mella? Naomi came out. It's going to be a triple threat. I'll step back. For women's rights and everything, I'm very much for this. I'm glad that they're going to go over to Saudi and have another women's match. But I'm going to be Mark. You're going to get a watered-down Bayley, a watered-down Mella, a watered-down...
very constricted match.
Naomi.
And I'm not being rude when I say this. I don't just watch the women's wrestling just
for the women.
Looks.
Yeah, no.
But it's gonna be like the Lacey Evans and Natalya match, where they're going to be dressed down from head to toe. They're going to be covered except for their, hands and face and head. This is a match that is going to be really wasted, I think, going on the Saudi card. Okay, Ricochet and Lesnar could give a rat's ass less about that match. Most of the matches over there could give a rat's ass less about. This is one match that should not be on that card.
I agree. All right. WWE has to stop having these pre-recorded interviews that Bray pops in because it was so fake. They have Hogan come on to say whatever he's going in as the NWO member now, 2-time Hall of Famer. Bray pops in, and it's fun when Bray pops in, but because it's editing, ain't no retentive over here, when Hogan's staring at the camera now for 3 to 5 seconds, doesn't seem long, but 3 to 5 seconds, and Bray is not saying anything, and Hogan's still dumbfounded, and then he answers, it just doesn't look good. It's supposed to be live via satellite, and come on, you got great technology. It's not.
And it doesn't help either, and I hate this guy. If I could fire one guy from WWE besides McMahon, it would be Michael Cole. He just doesn't help these segments
at all.
He'll pause before he gives a question that he already knows what they're going to say to, and it doesn't gel.
No,
it looks like third grader type stuff.
So we'll get to the main event was Miz and Morrison against Roman and a mystery partner. It was Daniel Bryan. They get the win. Corbin comes out and attacks them. Now we'll get to the part that Chad's going to be mad about. He cares about he's got his muffles on. He cares about the Otis and Mandy date. So let's me brief it. Otis is getting ready all night. Mandy goes to the restaurant. And I was excited that they didn't do it in catering with other wrestlers sitting around. They actually had extras there. So he walks into another place in the arena. It's not a restaurant. And he's got flowers, and you see him strutting in and everything. But Dolph's already sitting down with Mandy having dinner.
Oh, you bitch, Dolph.
And then Otis drops the flowers that he was going to give her, and walks away, and that's the way it ends.
Oh, I hope Otis kicks Dolph right in his balls.
No.
Come on, why do you got to go there? That's Otis's, probably first and only chance with a real woman, a gorgeous real woman at that. And Dolph, who's,
can get anybody. He's good looking.
Well, he's had a lot of people from rumors and stuff like that.
Stop.
He's kind of like a porcupine. He's had a lot of sunny days.
I was just trying to get it in there, but you wouldn't shut up. All right, here comes the English professor and his shtick. We'll be back with the last segment.
Adrian Adonis and Roddy Piper set up their respective talk shows next door to one another. The flower shop on the left and Piper's Pit was on the right. It was the face-off fans had been anticipating. During Piper's absence following WrestleMania 2, the Hot Rod's controversial talk show had been replaced by the Adorable One segment. Piper was not only determined to get his show back on television, but he made it his mission to get the flower shop taken off the air. The first part of his goal was easy. As much as fans hated Piper, they missed him while he was away, and they were eager for him to come back. But the second half of his equation would prove to be much more challenging. Adonis and Piper each invited a guest to their respective show. Adonis introduced his recently hired bodyguard, Ace Cowboy Bob Orton. Piper turned to an old friend. He introduced a man whom he held in high regard for his accomplishments in the ring and for his ability to successfully take over the body shop, while mutual friend Jesse the Body Ventura was also away from the wrestling business. Don Morocco could perhaps be the voice of reason in this war of words between his two fellow bad guys. Pleasantries and mutual respect quickly devolved into jokes at one another's expense, with Roddy mocking Morocco's gut and Magnificence crossing the line and calling Piper's kilt a skirt. Adonis attempted twice to interrupt Piper, but each time Hot Rod pulled a gift out of a red bag for his former friend. The first time, Piper handed Adonis a bra and told him to get lost. The second time, Roddy took an extra-large pair of pink women's underwear and wrapped them around Adrian's head. Ace immediately tried to untangle the underwear off of his boss's hat. Morocco lost his patience. He claimed he'd been invited by the Rowdy Scott to be a guest on the pit to speak as someone with knowledge of professional wrestling and talk shows. But instead, Morocco claimed Roddy had turned this whole thing into a cartoon with his antics. A cartoon! Roddy shouted incredulously. What I'm trying to stop is a cartoon by this idiot over here, Piper screamed. Morocco reminded Piper that this was the United States of America, and we were free to come and go as we wanted, to say what we wanted, and to dress how we wanted. I have children! The hot Scots blood rushed to his face. I do not want my kids watching this idiot! Morocco insisted Adonis had more integrity and honor than Piper. Piper called Morocco a fatso. Who are you calling fatso? Adonis demanded. Who am I calling fatso? Roddy asked. He pointed to their bellies. Take your choice! A shoving match ensued between Roddy and his former bodyguard before Adonis cracked a potted plant over Piper's head. Morocco, Orton, and Adonis pummeled Piper with fists and a steel chair before punching holes through all of his pictures and portraits and knocking down the plaid walls of the pit like the cops busting up Sonny Black's bar in Donnie Brasco. Adonis drew on Piper's face with lipstick as he lay unconscious. Many fans still believed in 1986. To quote Greg the Hammer Valentine, they didn't believe like they did in 1979, but they still believed. While older siblings and friends insisted it wasn't real, even though they watched it right along with us, my friends and I defended pro wrestling's credibility. We pointed to the law of gravity as our proof. You simply couldn't fake those falls. You couldn't fake the strength necessary to lift and hold a 300-pound man above your head. But just when some fans were getting a little too wise, a segment steeped in reality, like Piper's Pit versus the Flower Shop, roped them back. While some fans were certain that the outcomes of matches were predetermined, they could still find themselves enthralled by such heated, impassioned debate. Roddy Piper did not agree with Adrian Adonis' lifestyle. He did not agree with how Adonis dressed. He did not want to subject his children to this way of life. Right or wrong, politically correct or not, Roddy stated his case, and many of the fans agreed. More importantly, they believed. If they knew, they likely forgot, at least for a little while, that Roddy Piper and Adrian Adonis were really the very closest of friends, with Piper often referring to Adonis as his brother. But did Roderick Toombs really feel the same way as Roddy Piper? Who knows? Probably not, but he kept us guessing. And as our good friend Al Snow says, it's about making them guess what's real. 10 years later, Vince McMahon had a serious conversation with his employees. Gone were the competitors who only moonlighted as wrestlers and had day jobs. There were no more pig farmers, no Washington tax shysters, no trash collectors, no police officers, and no one who could repo your car. Those characters were replaced by much more complex individuals. Suddenly, there was a tortured soul who wore a leather mask because he couldn't face the cruel world. He ripped out his own hair, punched himself in the face, and stabbed himself in the leg because he felt he deserved the pain, screeching and squealing with every bit of self-mutilation. A beer-guzzling, foul-mouthed, obscene-gestured pickup truck-driving redneck was now renaming Bible verses and had the final say and bottom line to every conversation. Vince told the performers of his company he needed to see more of their real-life personalities. That meeting led to perhaps the greatest era in pro wrestling. Fans love when wrestling pulls back the curtain. More than any other form of entertainment, we enjoy seeing how the sausage is made. What goes into making a movie, writing a song, producing special effects, putting on a play? All of that may be interesting to some, but it doesn't capture the imagination like knowing the secrets of pro wrestling. That's why, right or wrong, it's more intriguing to discuss Montreal or the curtain call than an actual match. That's why, despite the fact that I love every minute of every episode of NWA Power, what stood out from last week's episode was Eddie Kingston telling Pope and the Dawsons how he felt about homicide. Kingston kept his hands behind his back as a sign that he would remain peaceful. He claimed to have a screwdriver in his pocket and to have picked up a wrench from under the ring. The fans laughed, and Kingston chuckled along with them. The NWA said, "Please don't do that." Then Kingston put a stop to the sarcasm and got real. "When I should," he continued, stone-faced but still not raising his voice. "I should go after your eyes," he said, pointing to Pope. "I should go after your tongue and rip it out of your mouth." He demanded Pope look him eye to eye, warning him to never disrespect homicide again. "That man built New York City. That man made stars." Kingston talked about the wrestlers who found success as champions thanks to Homicide's hard work. Then, with a guttural voice that seemed to come from a darker place, a place of self-loathing but also of love and gratitude for his friend, a place of despair and hopelessness, but also of retribution and forgiveness, Kingston told Pope and the Dawsons how Homicide saved him from death. "Because of him, I didn't commit suicide," Kingston said. "I'd die for that man." The Dawsons looked like the biker gang who waltzed into Sonny's bar in the Bronxdale, thinking they can dump their beers everywhere until Sonny told them, "Now yous can't leave." Their faces dropped. All their courage and strength was drained right from their bodies. Pope has the smoothest voice in wrestling and is never at a loss for words, but he didn't say anything. Had he come back with a quick quip, then I may have thought the whole thing was a work, but silence told a greater story than words could. Did Eddie Kingston really contemplate suicide? If he did, then why? What did Homicide do to help him turn his life around? Maybe Pope's comments about Homicide were part of the show, but was Kingston really that mad about them? Just like Ric Flair's tirade against Eric Bischoff, Kingston reminded us that his speech was real. Art should be a creation of reality. Whether it's a song, a play, a film, or a pro wrestling promo, we should believe what we're seeing. Did the country singer really have his heart broken? Is the main character really attracted to the love interest? Was Eddie Kingston really in such a dark place? Reality doesn't just have to be dramatic. Britt Baker hugged Tony Schiavone before calling his question stupid. As we all know, Britt Baker is a real-life dentist. The good doctor explained that her vicious beating of Ayuka Sakazaki was her legal and ethical obligation as a dentist, which includes improving the overall health of the public. The mandibular second molar, number 19, had extensive decay, which led to severe pulpar necrosis and the formation of a chronic apical abscess. The tooth would have fallen out eventually, and Britt extracted it for free. Ayuka likely didn't have insurance, but Tony was covered by Starbucks since he was a barista for them. Britt is a dentist, but was all that dental mumbo-jumbo legit? And did Tony really work at Starbucks? Fans booed loudly and gave Baker a bunch of middle fingers. In 2020, when we're all so smart and wise, she still got the crowd to a fever pitch. In a shorter period of time, Baker has drawn more hate from fans than Sasha and Bayley combined. Maybe it takes a little more than just either changing your hair color from purple to blue or losing your pigtail and chopping your hair short to get a real reaction from an audience. The previous week, Dr. Baker called out Jim Ross for flubbing over the names of the women's division. We all love JR, but we'd be lying if we said we didn't notice his errors. But AEW and Britt went there. Whose idea was it? Was JR offended? Dr. Baker delivered the lines with conviction, but what did she really think about having to hurt the pride and feelings of the best play-by-play guy to ever put on a headset? It's a fairly easy formula. Hulk Hogan said you had to check your ego at the door when you worked with Mr. Perfect. Assuming everyone can check their egos, tapping into their real lives can make for better wrestling television. This week on Raw, we had the immensely talented Shayna Baszler turn into a vampire or a zombie. The Queen of Spades, the submission specialist who promises one of three outcomes, snap, tap, or nap, bit the back of Becky's neck. If I thought Becky was annoying before, her too tough for medical attention act was such an eye roller that I turned off Raw. My 9-year-old son wasn't even interested. Speaking of Becky, the WWE tried to get real with her a few months ago by acknowledging her real-life romance with Seth Rollins and booking them in a painfully awkward promo where Becky tried to tickle Rollins, but he tried to get away. But now that Rollins is a bad guy and Becky is still the man, there's no working any program with them together. Unless you're AEW. Cody needed more support with each lash he took from MJF. We fans could only get him so far. Coach Arn came out to provide inspiration. Dustin came to the ring to encourage his little brother. Finally, it took Brandy to get her husband to stand up and take that last lash. Brandy has been managing a stable of bad guys that has the odd habit of cutting off the hair of their victims. And I think it would be perfectly acceptable if she returned to her own business dealings after helping her husband through this difficult time. WWE is trying too hard not to offend anyone. In doing so, they've become boring and complacent. Obviously, the days of a cross-dressing villain being mocked by Hulk Hogan skipping around the ring with his wrists bent forward are over, and that's a good thing. But the competition are incorporating reality in 2020. They are getting us to believe in 2020. They are keeping us guessing what's real in 2020. And that, Can Crushers listeners, is an English professor shoot. In today's English tip of the week, we'll look at collective nouns. A collective noun represents a collection of things. Examples include a bunch of bananas, a team of players, a crew of construction workers, and a pride of lions. The collective noun is singular, but represents plural things. But how do we conjugate them? Are they singular or plural? Typically, in England, collective nouns are plural. For example, if that judge guy from IWC were presiding over a case in England, he would ask, have the jury reached a decision? But in the States, he would ask, has the jury reached a decision? Typically, in American English, collective nouns are singular. Let's take a look at a couple of quick examples. When Big John Studd and King Kong Bundy faced the British Bulldogs, I wanted Heenan's men to win and become champs. So I could say, I hope Big John Studd and King Kong Bundy win the belts. How could I use a collective noun here, and how would it conjugate? I could have said, I hope the Heenan family wins the belts. Or I hope that the team that can't be slammed wins the belts. Family and team are collective nouns, and in American English, they conjugate as singular nouns. In another example, I could say, I think Gangrel, Edge, and Christian look really cool. But if I wanted to use a collective noun, I could say, I think the Brood looks really cool. And if you're thinking of using this example of the Brood to disprove my previous point about Shayna Baszler and vampires, don't. The Brood was so damn cool. Anyway, collective nouns are one example of a slight difference between English in England and American English. And speaking of the good old USA, tell him, Sarge.
You're dismissed.
Again, he needs more airtime, so the English professor.
So, yeah, he got second time. He's not going to get his 5 to 7 times a week that he likes.
No, he wants it in his contract, but it's not going to happen. What's your contract say?
My contract, lucky if Mark calls you, be on call. That's what mine says.
Right.
And I get a soda.
You brought your own.
But today. I have to serve myself.
Oh yeah, you're now. So. And you don't knock anymore, because if you knock, you get the dog all fired up, and the dog's missing you right now. He is gouging Ethan's door. Yeah. So he's going to come down like a barrel of horse shit here in a minute and be ready to go. So we have a project this week, me and you. And this is really good. I want to, we talked, not on the ride, but we talked earlier this week about how much wrestling is actually on WWE. And how much in-ring stuff. Okay? So, go.
Yeah, we just talked about it because we think that WWE could really serve Raw better, get better ratings, better storylines, everything like that, if they would cut an hour out of Raw.
And we're saying that hour is promo time, garbage time, review time.
As much as I love like the Mandy Rose angle and stuff like that, it's humor in that, but it's stuff that could be weeded out a good percentage of it, 60% of it, and it would just either leave more in-ring action, for like the actual wrestling, or it just needs to be removed as much as it is.
So the project is Chad is going to time Raw. In-ring action is going to be broken down. You're going to break them down individually, like in-ring, promo, garbage, that we're going to call garbage, and then review. Are you going to break like 4 categories?
Yeah. The in-ring, obviously self-explanatory, actual action in-ring. This isn't going to be backstage brawls. This is anything crap like that. Promos, obviously.
It's self-explanatory.
Another self-explanatory. Hey, what do you think? You just lost this match to so-and-so, or you just won this match, or going into this match, what are you thinking? That kind of stuff. Garbage stuff. Pretty much
self-explanatory.
Another thing, anything involving somebody like King Corbin.
Mojo.
Stupid stuff like that. It's pretty...
He's got 3 hours on Raw. I am going to do AEW It's 2 hours. I know everybody's going to be like, we can't compare apples to oranges because there's 3 hours or 2 hours. Right. We're just breaking the time down, folks.
Yeah, and I thought about that. You can say when you do your 2 hours and I do my 3, you can get, okay, for an average hour, this much crap happened. Right. That's where you can make the comparison. With Raw, you're going to have 3 hours to take that from. With AEW too, but it's not going to make a difference because Raw's going to have an average.
Right.
And AEW's going to have an average. So 2 hours, 3 hours, it's really not going to make a difference.
So that's our project this week.
Yes. And the reason we're using Raw is because that's supposedly their flagship show, even though it's, to me, 9 times out of 10, the worst show of the week that WWE puts out.
Oh, without a doubt. Now let's talk about the best show of the week real quick. NXT Takeover Portland is tonight. It's in a couple hours, folks, by the time this is being released. Adam Cole against Ciampa. Rhea against Belair. The Tegan Nox, Dakota Kai is the match that I want to watch.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an absolute physical brawl because, again, when you have storylines, you got to have something that makes sense. This is a friendship crushed by somebody losing their mind, getting pissed off about things. This makes sense.
The match, you're going to give me bad eyes. The match I really don't care about is the Undisputed Era against the Bro Sisters.
No, I am hoping for this match. So help me, the good man above, if they have, the Bro Squad beat them for the title, I think O'Reilly, Fish, and everybody else ought to jump in there with chairs and just beat the shit out of them.
Matt Riddle itself, break his toe.
Especially Matt Riddle. I just don't want them to lose the titles. I think
what you want and what you get is completely different.
Yeah. This would be a bad move for the Undisputed Era to lose the titles to these idiots.
They take a month off and they show up at WrestleMania.
It would be nice, but again,
then they're screwed on the main roster.
Yeah, then Vince has a hold of them, and they're screwed.
This is the day that all title. Well, Roderick already lost his, but this is the time that the titles could change hands. You see Ciampa taking Cole out? I don't.
I see them having anytime Adam Cole's in a singles match, and Ciampa's right there with him. It's going to be a match. It's going to be a brutal. Especially with these two, with the kicks, the running knees,
the history.
This is going to be a brutal match. I'm biased. I don't care.
Of course you are.
Adam Cole. I'm pulling for Adam Cole in this, and I like Ciampa.
I do,
but I'm pulling for Adam Cole. This is going to make your eyes roll. I could give a rat's butt less about the female match.
Well, we already know it's going to be Rhea and Charlotte at WrestleMania.
So
and that's
Belair, that's one point.
The Charlotte
exactly
show up
why.
tonight. The Charlotte show up tonight.
Charlotte shows up, jumps her after the match. Belair's no help because she's hurt or outside the ring or whatever. Charlotte shows up. That is one reason why I could care less because
I don't care about that one.
Match.
Dakota is what I'm all about on this match, and Tegan. But
and the second thing, I don't like Belair. I mean, it's eh.
Oh, see, I like Belair.
I don't like her character, so
the EST of NXT, I do.
No. She needs to have a hair versus hair match against somebody.
Next week we have IWC Saturday in Elizabeth. We'll touch on that. John will be going to the show for us. We have some prior engagements we need to take care of here, so we'll get a touching. Maybe John will forego his English tip of the week and all of that and just cover IWC with us a little bit so we know what's going on. Other than that, playoff basketball started, so I'm going to be engulfed in that this week.
Yeah, today's what's today's date?
The 16th.
16th. There's something totally off of wrestling. Kind of keep in mind. Coming up on the 24th is Kobe Bryant's memorial service. They're doing it obviously on that date because of his number. Everything. Just something to keep in mind. This is, like I said before about it, I'm not a huge basketball fan. I wasn't a, overly fan of his or whatever, but this is just a loss that has hit so many people across the globe and that.
Again, Chad's always... I don't know how I can bring it back up and say, guys, go to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter every week after he's bringing it down, but that's where we are. Send us emails. We're still doing that Ask the Can Crusher. I'm not going to lie, I haven't checked email out this week because I'm a bum, but it's cancrusher69@gmail.com because we're going to take all those questions and make it one huge show about what's going on. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, all the podcasting platforms. And one thing we haven't mentioned in a while, guys, Cauliflower Alley Club. Go make sure you go and check them out. I will always refer you back to the B. Brian Blair interview that we had. He talks about the Cauliflower Alley Club and what they do for retired wrestlers and those that have passed. They have a foundation and they, distribute money around to help them. When I think of this, I think of the two big men that Kamala right now having major health issues, one man gang losing his house and stuff like that. We get a newsletter every couple months about what's going on, have some nice articles in it. Guys, you can join and you can help support them. Just go to caulifloweralleyclub.org and they do a lot of great stuff.
Yeah. Hint, Vince McMahon. Instead of paying, celebrities for WrestleMania $15-20 million to come in and blowing all this money on stupid shit that you do.
Again with shit.
Put it out there. Put some money to something like this. Give them some money with nothing in return. Take care of the guys that put you where you are today.
That's the best way to end this show. Guys, we'll be back Wednesday with another great interview on the Spotlight. But until then, just remember, Chad, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called the garbage can.
Not the garbage cannot.